you some additional comments. Procedurally moving forward, my recommendation would be that we do craft an action item for the agenda, because to not do so would handcuff the board again, and there would be no opportunity to make any kind of decision. To have an action item gives the board the flexibility to actually take action, to either approve one of these mascots or to say, we're not ready to do that. So my recommendation would be that we do have an action item on the agenda for next meeting.
Anyone else?
So I'd like to hear from everybody how they feel about rushing to a decision or making a decision. I think we need to kind of go there so we're not discussing the same things every time. So I'd like to kind of finish the conversation.
Well, I can tell you this much. If I felt in my heart, soul, and mind that the student body truly was informed and truly voted what they felt was best, and they chose Warriors over an Indian, you know, as a name, I have to be honest with you, my vote's going to go for the student body at this point, because we made our decision on what we felt was an incorrect image of Indian people and a mascot. They're not mascots, they're people. I do not personally have an image in my upbringing of a warrior at a school, of, you know, a headdress or some other thing, and maybe there is somewhere, but it's not in my imagery. So therefore, I'm okay with it. And if the student body was informed, if they're not informed, then yes, maybe that needs to be explored one more time so that they're completely informed on the decision that they're making. And because I'm assuming that, you know, the school district's almost 100 years old, that it'll go hopefully for another 100 years, because we are spending. Maybe the school, people can feel that there hasn't been this back and forth, but we've spent a lot of time on this, and this board has a lot of important things to do that are tied to other things besides a mascot name, and I'm not trying to discount the mascot name, okay? But we have a lot of important decisions in this district to make, and I think it's the student body's opportunity.
I think I made my feelings clear. I'd like to get away from warlike imagery. You know, I don't, with the million options we have, I don't see anything related to fighting as necessary. I don't think it benefits anybody. And you know, I look at it, we're a public school. We're one of the most diverse public schools in the United States. I think it's incumbent upon us not to offend a group of people. We have so many options. Why choose one we know that is offensive? Because it gives us honor? I went to John Sweat. The mascot didn't do anything for me in my life. You know, I think let's move on. Not use a person of any sort as a mascot. Let's get away from it. Let's set an example. And as far as enough time to think about it and make a decision, this has been a subject in American society for decades. If we need more time to think about this, wow, I can't, it's hard for me to imagine somebody on this board, especially somebody who's been serving for years, who maybe was on the board when this came up before, needs more time to think about it. 2 decades should be enough. And, you know, let's move forward. You know, we'll all get over it. Some people aren't going to like it, but we'll get over it. And let's move forward. Like Jerry's right. We have a lot of important things to talk about.
So you want to make the decision as to what it will be for them?
For the students?
Yeah.
That's what we were elected to do.
Yeah, I
We weren't
disagree with
elected.
that.
We were not. I don't believe we were elected to abdicate. Because, hey, what about next year when, if something happens and the Warriors are a crummy basketball team? Maybe it didn't have an effect. Maybe it did, and they want to change it. You know, let's take it for what it is. It's a mascot. It shouldn't offend anybody.
I think we had a moral obligation to change the name from Indian. So therefore, I think as a board, that was an appropriate decision for us to make. I do not feel it is an appropriate decision for us to make their choice
Wait a minute, we made the choice without asking to change it from Indian.
because it was morally the wrong thing.
You know, moral is subjective to what a person feels.
Okay, well.
We made that decision. And you're gonna make another decision that potentially offends the same group of people that you feel it was
it's not
moral, you had a moral obligation to change
I think we know where you stand.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're having this discussion.
We are.
Yeah,
I don't believe
but
a
I don't think
warrior
we
has
need
the
to-
imagery of a
if you guys
Native
wanna have a
American
back and
person.
forth, I think
Well, I
should
think
do
we
that
need to.
well, you
to
can do
some
that
extent.
after hours.
We can maybe do it at the
Because
I
this
think,
is a
I think
public
at this
forum.
point, Mr. Delgadillo, do you have any comments?
I just rather just put it on for the, on our next board meeting and make a decision at that time.
Ms. Claris?
I do. I really appreciate the offer for the educational forum. And I wish that somehow we could work that in. I know that's the end of the school year now. We would have to wait until September to do that. And I hope that our district and you, your coalition, can work together to have something organized and maybe on the calendar for sometime in September so that the new students, so that's my feeling. As far as our vote to change the Indian, like I said, after months of listening to the pleas and the heart-rendering facts from the coalition, it seemed like the right thing to do.
So finally, I'm just gonna say this. If the choice is to make the decision for them, I would be totally against that and I would go with more education. I would rather accept what they have decided than to make the decision for them. And I do not feel warrior is offensive. I feel that it represents so much more, and in fact historically has represented so much more than the Native American people. And I feel we can also put down certain guidelines as to the imagery that we use as well.
Thank you. All right, moving forward.